up on today's Ohio State Football Report, we're breaking down 5 breakout candidates for the Buckeyes on offense only this upcoming season. If you want defensive breakout candidates, show it by liking today's video. We'll always do the videos you guys want, and that's normally determined by the views and the likes and the comments and everything else. So help us out. Like today's video, please, and thank you. We'll go in positional order, but it actually does kind of work as overall order as well. So at the first spot, Julian Sayin. Come on, obviously, right? Sayin does still need to win the quarterback job. That is not necessarily set in stone. You know, Lincoln Keenholz can still compete and fight in the fall/summer for that role. And in general, the OSU starting quarterback, insert that name here, is by far the most obvious breakout. It's the quarterback for the Buckeyes on an offense that's got a lot of skill talent. They should play pretty well. I think in the end, Sayin ends up winning this job. He was the 5-star recruit. He was the number 6 overall player in his class. He was the number 1 QB. This is the guy the Buckeyes want to win that starting job. I don't think there's really anything of note to glean from what we saw last season from Sayin as a true freshman who barely had any snaps at all, and the snaps he did have were extreme garbage time moments. But he did have a pretty good spring game. After the reports being a little slow to start early on, he did kind of settle in and have some success in the spring game itself and maybe saved his best for last. And in theory, will then carry that through the summer/fall and win that job for the Buckeyes. It was a good spring. I am excited about it. It's a 5-star QB for Ohio State. That normally ends up working out pretty well. So, predictions. Do you think Julian Sayin wins the starting quarterback job? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know in the comment section of today's show. Let's go to potentially his backfield mate. That is James Peoples, the former State of Texas running back who played a little bit last year. It was a very limited role, wasn't overly involved. 49 carries, 197 yards. Again, there's really not that much to gleaned from his overall play, outside of the fact that he was clearly the third back for this team behind the Judkins-Henderson combination, and was a fairly highly touted recruit. 4-star, 115 overall, was the number 8 ranked back in his class. And there is the possibility, well, not just is the possibility, there's just going to be a lot of touches that end up getting replaced in this backfield. We'll talk about CJ Donaldson in a little bit, but Quinshaw Judkins and Traven Henderson are off to the NFL. Look, the Buckeyes played 16 games last season. On average, those two guys were getting 24 touches per game. That is a tremendous amount of workload to replace. You're replacing a lot of touches overall. Those two guys combined were getting about 24 touches per game. Not all of them will go to James Peoples, but a pretty good amount of them will. A pretty high amount of them, I suspect, will end up going to those two guys. CJ Donaldson will also get some work. And Donaldson is a different type of back than Peoples. Peoples is a little bit smaller, I think more explosive, more dynamic. Donaldson offers some more battering ram stuff. So there will probably be a rotation. I don't think Peoples is going to get 200-something carries like, Judkins did at Ole Miss or whatever. But I do think, a high volume is extremely possible this upcoming season for James Peoples, and I think he'll be impressive with the touches he does end up getting. All right, Ohio State football hats are on sale. A wide variety of them with some pretty heavy discounts available as well at chatsports.com/OSU hats. They've got the trucker hat style. They've got the flat bill style as well. Wide variety is available. Link will be in the comment section and the description of today's show. Go check out that's only just a small sampling of what they have. They got a lot of them over on Fanatics. It's chatsports.com/OSU hats. Let's go to wide receiver. And I'm going to put Brandon Inniss on here. That is the younger, likely wide receiver 3 for the Buckeyes. Jeremiah Smith is Jeremiah Smith. Like, you can't break out. He already showed day one he was a superstar caliber player. I think Carnell Tate kind of did break out last year. And I think that's a bit more of a known commodity from just like what he was able to do last season. They're going to replace Emeka Egbuka. There's plenty of targets to go around there. Jeremiah Smith's going to get his. Obviously should get force-fed. Carnell Tate's going to make plays. I would not sleep on Brandon Inniss either. I think he has really good ability, really good talent, and I think the the impact will be great this season. He's a former almost 5-star recruit. Didn't quite get into that category. He did some of the punt return stuff. He and Caleb Downs kind of split duties a little bit there. 38th overall player back in 2023, was a pretty consensus top 10 wide receiver. Again, only had the 13 catches last season. Did have 14 punt returns for 107 yards as well. A lot of kind of almost pinned back. He was the fair catch guy sometimes. I think he's going to be a wide receiver through this year. And I think that the difference between him and Carnell Tate might not be as big as what the production says it could be after last season. Again, we're talking offensive breakouts only. So name a player who you think breaks out this upcoming season. Let me know in the comment section of today's show. I'm going to put Purdue transfer tight end Max Klare on this list. And this is kind of cheating to an extent. I think Max Klare already is really good. I think he is already one of the best tight ends in all of college football. I'm putting him on this list because of the national awareness I don't think is there for Max Klare. Because Purdue stunk last season. And he still put up pretty darn good numbers. 51 catches, 685 yards, 4 TDs in only 12 games played. That's essentially almost identical to Carnell Tate, except Clare played in 4 fewer games and had 50-ish less yards. Did way better than what G. Scott produced at tight end last season. I think Max Klare is an awesome football player. I think this is a special caliber of player who is going to have a sizable impact for the Buckeyes. He probably isn't a household name because, again, Purdue was bad last year. But I think even if the production dips statistically, the awareness and level of impact is going to be strong for the Buckeyes' newest tight end. And I honestly wouldn't be shocked if we ended up seeing a scenario where he's viewed after just one season as, hey, this guy could be an early round NFL pick. This guy could be the top tight end taken this upcoming season. In the draft, by the way. For more free Ohio State YouTube videos, you've come to the right spot. Hit that sub button. That's all I got to do. It's free. Subscribe. We'll keep you covered on the Buckeyes. Let's go to the offensive line here. And I am very curious what this group kind of looks like. I don't feel overly confident necessarily. I do think somebody has steps. So I'm going to go with Austin Siereveld, the offensive lineman. It does kind of sound like the Buckeyes have some excitement about him. They're kind of overhauling this offensive line. They've made some real changes. I don't think Saravel's even locked into a position quite yet. It'll be somewhere on the right side. He'll be an insert spot here, right side starter. But I think the second-year jump is going to come for him. I thought he showed some good stuff down the stretch last year. A lot of the Ohio State offensive line, frankly, showed some intriguing stuff down the stretch of that 2024 campaign. In general, I am not a fan of shuffling offensive linemen. I don't think that leads to good results in most cases. The Buckeyes were an exception. They were shuffling offensive linemen last year. That left guard was in a bit of a rotation, with right guard getting some shuffling involved there too. Carson Hinsman is now back as the center since he kind of took back over following the injury to Seth McLaughlin after McLaughlin kind of took his job. We'll see about Ethan Oninawa. I am a little bit worried about that. I think he's going to be a good run blocker. I worry. He's allegedly cut some weight, which could be a really big deal for him looking quicker. I think Luke Montgomery can be a solid guard, if not, maybe not, a Zach Martin caliber guard. For those of you remember him at Notre Dame and, of course, in the NFL. We'll see if Tegra Chabola ends up starting. I think the Buckeyes would like it if Phillip Daniels could emerge as a piece, but that's not necessarily a guarantee either. I think somebody's got to be a big part on the right side. I think Siereveld is the most likely one, so I'll kind of speak it into existence at least a little bit. I want you guys then to grade the Buckeyes offensive line. I would prefer honest answers. It's okay if the answer is low, if you're worried about it. It's probably not as good as what it was last year, at least when they were healthy last season. So sound off for me, where else with the comment section of today's show, and grade that Ohio State Buckeyes offensive line A, B, C, D, or F.